Hi everyone, Pat here. Welcome back to another market review on my YouTube. Been a while since I've done one of these. It's a pretty good time, as you can see on my screen, to do a Bitcoin market review, or just not just Bitcoin, the whole market in general. Going to be covering a lot today. Some stocks I'm looking at, some fundamental side of things on stocks that I am looking at buying, along with this current big resistance on BTC and how we can navigate around this level. Make sure to drop a subscribe and like the video if you do enjoy it. Of course, the more feedback I get on these market reviews, the more frequently I will be doing them. So let's get into the video. Quickly before I start, just a reminder that this video is for informational purposes only, reflects my personal views, and it's not financial advice, and always consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. So yeah, BTC moving into a pretty important spot here. You know, this 81k to 88k region. You know, the main sort of level, right, is 81 to 85, but you know, upwards of 88k, things get really interesting. I do believe that, you know, I've discussed in the past the fact that I can see BTC making a new all-time high in November, right? That is something that I've discussed a lot on my market reviews over the past few months. And was very vocal about the BTC gold chart forming a local bottom back in end of Feb into March, and since then we've seen basically a 50% bounce in this pairing. So really good outperformance from BTC off that February low, which I'm really happy about. So now we're moving into essentially the first like critical level, and why I mean that is because basically above sort of this range high, above this 74k region, it's been basically a gap, right? This has basically been air. There's been no volume above here. There's no volume above here either. So the road above 74k has been pretty simple for BTC. Like, it's been really easy to trade between this level. You can see like back here how liquid these sort of moves are. So this time around it's been much more like controlled move up rather than a complete like spike up. But now we're moving, basically since we flipped that 74k region, we're moving into the next critical level, and the reason I have this sort of arrow marked out is because of the structure we can see here on BTC. So what you have is basically a support area that is formed, and then once, you know, that support area is lost, you get a sort of bounce into that area, and then that rejects, right? It's like simple market structure. Again, here we have like a really strong support all the way back from here, right? This was a support for weeks, right? And then again here it was support. Eventually it was lost. BTC bounced up, rejected, right? A very critical support that it failed to sort of reclaim, get a reclaim above and leg up, and again bearish retest, and now legging lower. Again, we can see the same sort of situation happening here, right? A very like crucial level for BTC to hold previously was really strong support for, you know, March all the way through to April. Again here from November through till January, really strong support. So we're retesting this area, and we have to consider the fact that is this going to be a bearish retest, right? And until this level has been proven otherwise, and until we do see a strong break above sort of 85, 88k, we have to consider that this is going to be a bearish retest. So for now, until we do see a flip of sort of 85 to 88k, I'm personally looking for one more spike up on BTC into this region to get short, swing short on a lot of things. I think the market, if we aren't already topped, I do think the market could get one more drive up, and that'll be the drive I'm looking to short, and anywhere sort of from 85 to 86k, 88k would be great for a short. And then that brings me back to what I was saying, like if 88k starts to get flipped, you really have to consider like the bullish scenario, and sort of like any bearish scenario, you have to throw that completely out the window, because not only would 88k be a good reclaim, but you'd also have this huge deviation under like a yearly range low, right? So what you have is like this range area, and then you have like a range, we have the break below, we have the deviation, we have the reclaim, and then we would leg up, in my opinion, into the 100ks and likely back to all-time high, right? So, you know, I've discussed this a lot. I do believe that looking at an all-time high in November is more than possible, but first we need to escape from this bearish retest, and we need to get above sort of 86 to 88k for a big breakout higher. Stocks obviously have been really strong, which I will discuss some stocks I'm looking at shortly. But for now, you know, I've got a weekly sell signal coming in on the S&P. These are kind of common, but not always the best hit rate. We can see here, you know, we had some weekly sell signals, and the S&P went on to push up a little bit more before selling off. Again, here we had some sell signals, you know, following that we did have like a 6% pullback, in this case 12% pullback. In this case, you know, it was quite a large local top, but back here sort of pushed up a little bit more before pulling back. So I could definitely see a scenario where the S&P cools off very soon into this 7,400 to 7,600 region. That would probably align with the idea of BTC going back to sort of 84 to 88k. I know, as much as we are not coupled with BTC, there's a good chance that we could get a spike up into here on the S&P, and I wouldn't be surprised if the stock market starts to sell off, then BTC would likely follow in course. That's just how it goes. Like, we've seen it time and time again where the stocks sell off and BTC follows, and obviously have to see how the situation in and around progresses as well. So right now, to get like a spike up on BTC is what I'm looking for, and I wouldn't mind positioning long for that sort of final drive up. Whether it's, you know, if we can get long and we spike up into 88 and it continues to leg up, then we know we've got a comfortable entry from down here, which would be the ideal scenario. But right now I'm looking anywhere sort of sub 79k on BTC looks like a really nice place to get long, essentially into this developing quarterly value area high. Anything sub 79k on a sweep looks good. Optimal entry would be around 77.2, but I'm unsure whether we sweep that low on BTC. So basically looking for any sort of triggers sub 79k to get long, with a target of 85 to 88k this week. And then, like I said, looking for a swing short up there. Right here, there's really nothing to do, kind of just diddling in the middle. We can see we're trading into this prior weekly VWAP, and a lot of chop has been happening around this region. So personally want to see a bit more of a break under 79k and before I start to consider a long on BTC. 2025 VAL on BTC is at 87,800, which is why I basically have been discussing that 88k is a big level. You know, the 2025 VAL is a significant place for BTC. So if we do start to break above here, you know, there's a good chance we're going to be trading into 100 to, you know, 112 and much higher later down the line. So, you know, very cautious into this region. 2024 value high, 2025 value high. I think whatever longs you're taking here, you should be looking to squeeze out this final move into here until we do get a strong break above. And any short triggers you have into this region are going to be ones to really pay attention to. Ethereum, honestly, Ethereum is looking pretty cooked in my eyes. It's kind of doing the same price action that it's done all of, like, basically since September last year, where you have like a range form, it legs up and breaks down, and then, you know, same sort of price action again. And I think if we get a move into 88k, one of the main coins you're going to want to look at to short is ETH. I think this is super weak, and the only reason it hasn't dropped yet is because BTC has been so much stronger, and it's holding it up. You know, this is very common bear market price action for ETH. So I do think if you get any spike up with BTC into 88k, this should set up for a really nice short. Maybe look to place some sort of like deviation and buy or sell. In fact, sort of like the deviation that locks in on ETH, and you can probably target 2k and much lower. But overall, I have no interest in being an ETH buyer. I think it looks very weak, and if BTC starts to roll over, this is going to go back down to like 2k to 1800 very, very quickly. So I think in general, like when we look at stocks, I do believe they're close to a call off. As I was just saying with the S&P, this is seemed pretty overextended to me right now. The thing is with stocks, they can really just go up only. They trade so differently to crypto. You know, they're much lower volatility than crypto, and crypto really responds more drastically to very overextended price action, right? That's either to the upside or to the downside. So when we look at the S&P, like this can just, as overextended as it can be, we can see here on the Z score, it can just keep grinding up. But that doesn't mean we can't see some sort of like micro pullbacks, sort of, you know, 5 to 10% pullbacks on the S&P would be a fantastic opportunity to buy a bunch of stocks. There's a few things I'm looking at right now. So I've actually got my eye on a few mining companies, IREN and Riot. For example, IREN recently had a partnership with NVDA, which is really interesting, and a Riot and a partnership with AMD. A lot of these mining companies are finding partnerships with AI infrastructure and data centers because they have such large power centers to deal with such like AI and data infrastructure. So it's really interesting to see how a lot of these coins are starting to, or companies I should say, are starting to pivot to this data side of things, which for Riot could be a very, very strong move. You can see that, you know, this level at 23 dates back 5,000 days. So this dates back all the way to 2012. The two times that this level was broken was in the 2017 bull market and the 2021 bull market for BTC. That doesn't mean, you know, we have to break this level in a bull market, but something to watch out here is if Riot starts to accept above this $23 level, I'm expecting a move as high as sort of $60 to $70 on Riot, and this is something I'm really interested in trying to get a long on. It's super aggressive, but I think this week a sweep into 24 to 23, we can try a bounce long on it. I'll post a trade in the Discord likely for a position like that into 24 to 23. For a swing, like 21 looks great. If we do get a deeper pullback this week into 21 for Riot, then that is an optimal entry. But for now, we can try a really aggressive long into 24 if I get a nice buy trigger on the weekly with a target of a 36 and much higher. Like, we're looking at a big move here for, you know, 120% is more than possible on Riot. And IREN is a little bit more I wouldn't say overextended, but in a bit of a different scenario. Did have a nice sell signal on it last week on Friday, just before the stocks closed, unfortunately, so didn't manage to trade that. But I like the look of a sweep into 52 this week on IREN to get long with a target of 65 and above. Another coin I'm looking at is Galaxy Digital. This looks great, trading above the prior quarterly value high, prior monthly value high, prior weekly value high, prior yearly VWAP, developing yearly value high. So all in all, looks good for a breakout this week. If we can see some acceptance above the prior weekly value high, I'm going to be looking to play a continuation setup on it with a target of 36. So we're looking at, you know, 15 to 20% move. NVIDIA, another coin that looks great. Wanted to buy 213 this week, but unfortunately it's bounced on the open about 5% now. I'm just 4%. This could be close to a top. I'm considering the idea of swing short on NVIDIA into the 230s, but that's something that will come later down the line if I get a good trigger. But overall, like outside of stocks, I haven't really been paying attention to many coins. Personally, I'm favoring shorting a lot of these altcoins once BTC spikes into 88. I think coins like Fartcoin, this is setting up for a really nice short, but I don't want to short it just yet, especially while it's trading above the prior quarterly VWAP. I'd much rather time a short on a lot of these altcoins when BTC spikes up. So that's essentially the plan for this week and for Q2, you know, as long as it takes. I'm looking for a spike into this 85 to 88k region, and from there we consider whether we stick with the bearish scenario that this is going to be a bearish retest. Otherwise, a reclaim of 88k, we're looking for a big move up to 108 and 132 on BTC. I think that would catch a lot of people off guard. So longs this week under 80k into 79k on BTC, and shorts upwards of 85k. Go back and look at the stocks I'm watching for the week. If you're not in the Discord, make sure you check the Discord out. I'll put a link at the top description to join. All my trades are posted every day along with my thoughts. So catch you guys in the next one. Please leave some support if you enjoyed the video. See ya.